Okay, we're going to do some balancing equations. The first we're going to work with is the combustion. And remember that in combustion, some hydrocarbons will react with O2 and will always form CO2 and H2O as reactants. And the thing you want to remember with balancing a combustion reaction is chocolate. C-H-O, chocolate. And we want to balance in this order. So we want to balance in the order of carbon and hydrogen and then oxygen. So our first one, we have how many carbons? We have 1. We have 4 hydrogens and we have 2 oxygens. And then over here, it's always going to be 1, 2, 3. So the first thing we do is look at our carbons. Well, those match up on both sides, so we're good. Let's look at our hydrogens. We have 4 on the reactant side and 2 on the product side. So what can we put here as a coefficient that would change our hydrogens from 2 to 4? Remember that whatever we put here, we need to multiply by the subscript, okay? Not add, but multiply. So what times 2 will equal 4? So now we have 4 hydrogens. All right, let's look at oxygens. Well, on this side we have 2, and on the other side we have 3. So what can we do to get 3? Well, first we need to check what we've done over here. So we put a 2 coefficient here, and we multiplied it by our 2 on hydrogen, which is good. But we also need to multiply this 2 by our coefficient on oxygen. What is the what is the subscript right here? Well, nothing is written, so we know that there is 1 written right here. So if we were to multiply 2 times 1, we would get 2. And then we already have 2 right here. So what's 2 plus 2? We have 4. Now we have 4 oxygens. Okay, how can we get 4 oxygens? What can we put here that will multiply by 2 to get us 4? Well, that one's pretty easy. 2 times 2 is 4. So now we have 1 carbon, 4 hydrogens, 4 oxygens, 1, 4, 4. That one's balanced. Okay, let's work on the next one. Remember chocolate. I'm going to do this in blue. So we want to balance carbon, then hydrogen, then oxygen on both sides. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. All right. We have 2 carbon, 6 hydrogen, and 2 oxygen. So let's start with our carbon first. We have 2 here and 1 here. What can I put here that will change my 1 carbon into 2? Well, what's 2 times 1 is 2. So now we have 2 carbons. We did make a change to our oxygens, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We'll worry about that in a minute. Let's look at our hydrogens. We have 6 here and 2 here. What can I put as my coefficient multiplied by 2 that will change it from 2 to 6? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. So now I have 2 hydrogens, I have 6 hydrogens, 2 carbons. Now we can go back and update our oxygens. Okay, so I have 2 times 2, which is 4, right? 2 is my coefficient, and I multiply it by my subscript on my oxygen. I'm going to write 4. But wait, we have another oxygen over here. We have 3 times 1, which gives us 3. So now we have 7. All right. We have 7 oxygens, on one side and 2 on the other. This is where we can use fraction to balance out. So what I do is I look at this number here and I say, all right, well, I need 7, and I'm going to divide that by 2. How do I get rid of this 2? Because I can't have a fraction as a coefficient. Well, in order to get rid of that 2, I can multiply this whole fraction by 2. But if I multiply something here, I have to multiply the whole equation by 2. So I'm going to multiply this by 2. I'm going to multiply this by 2. And I'm going to multiply this by 2. All right? So now we have 2 times 1 is 2. Check. 2 times 7/2 is 7. So I'm going to, let's clean this up a little bit so it's not so messy. So now we have 7. Okay. We have 2 times 2 is going to be 4. And we have 2 times 3, which is going to be 6. We've made lots of changes, so let's go back and update our numbers. For carbon, we have 2 times 2. That gives us 4 carbons. For hydrogen, we have 2 times 6, which gives us 12. And then for our oxygens, we have 7 times 2, which gives us 14. Okay, let's come over here and do the same. So I have 4 times 1 gives me 4 carbons. I have 4 times 2, which gives me 8 oxygens, but I know I have some more oxygens, so I'm going to put a plus. Come back to that in a minute. I have 6 times 2 hydrogens, which is 12. And I have 6 times 1 oxygens, which is 6. 8 plus 6 is 14. I'm going to write 14 here. And now let's check. We have 4 carbons, 12 hydrogens, 14 oxygens, and that's balanced.